I have my friends with benefits old man juices stored in my drawer. We made love a month ago or so after a date of sorts. We have monthly encounters or every other week, but we did it in my car this time because, well, it just happened, I guess. I told him he could wrap a tissue around the used protection, and that I would dispose of it later, since we didn't want to throw it out the window and litter the place, so he did. He tied it shut and wrapped it on some tissue paper I had lying around. I drove him home, and he said, smirking, well, don't forget to throw this out. You don't want the coworker I ride share with to find it fermenting here when you drive her to work tomorrow. We laughed and he got out of the car. As I drove home, I looked at the passenger seat where the messy, scrunched up remains of the night were placed. I don't know, maybe I'm developing feelings for this man. Friendship with benefits often ends up with one of the parties falling for the other after a while, I suppose. Anyways, I reached home and picked it up from the seat to throw it out in the nearby bin, but maybe looking for my keys in a messy tote bag distracted me. I forgot I was holding it, and entered my flat with it. I went to the kitchen to dispose of it but couldn't. I looked at it. It really wasn't anything I hadn't seen before. We've been making love for years now, but I couldn't throw it away. I stuffed it in a plastic bag and placed it in a drawer in my room. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I did. Morning came, and I opened the drawer and there it was. I smiled for some reason, so I kept it there for a whole month now. It's all kinds of brown and I dread just imagining how it must smell. I'm borderline insane for this. I couldn't imagine telling this to another soul. I mean, who keeps man juices as a souvenir? Can't bring myself to throw it away now, for some weird reason. I'm curious about the psychology behind a behavior such as this one. We've made love a few more times since, but it feels so strange. If he knew what I did, he would probably freak out. Now, I've been asking him to finish on me. Every time he does, my mind wanders off and the freaking brown fungus-infested baggie permeates my thoughts, kind of a turn-off. So, that's the story of why I have moldy man juices in my sock drawer.
The snobby rich kid turned out to be the coolest person I've ever worked for. I, 30 male, have a small moving company. My brother and I started the company and we have 2 employees. So we had a job to move everything from this kid's apartment to his brand new house. I guess he's some kind of finance executive whatever, but he was 22. We all got a cup of coffee and prepared for what we thought would be the worst client we'll ever have to deal with. So we knocked on the door of the apartment and a lady answered with a baby and said, "Oh, you must be the movers. My boyfriend is over at the house. I'll be out of your way," and went into what I thought was a baby room and shut the door. Strangers in the house, I get it, so we stayed away from her. So we loaded up the first truck and went to the address to see a rented pickup and a white Mercedes. I even laughed to my employee and said, "You ready?" Well, he answered the door and had cold Gatorades and snacks for us. He didn't even ask if we needed help. Bro just jumped into the truck and helped us carry stuff. So when the second truck came, my brother and the other employee had the same surprise to see this kid was actually pretty cool. Next it was like 1 p.m. and he said, "Hey, are you guys hungry?" And I said, "Yeah, we'll take a lunch if that's all right with you." And he said, "Oh no, it's on me. What are you guys in the mood for?" We said anything is fine and thanked him, and he ended up ordering from this Thai place. It was good. My brother later was carrying in this chair and he said, "I actually don't think I need that," and he ended up giving it to one of the employees. So after the job we all were like, man, he was actually a super nice guy. Today, about 4 days later, what made me make this post? I grabbed the mail and he wrote us a thank you letter and 4 gift cards, one for all the employees, to a local steakhouse. Lesson to myself: don't judge a book by its cover. Today I messed up by punishing the sandwich thief with super spicy Carolina Reaper sauce. In a shared hangar with several workshops, my friends and I rented a small space for our knife-making enterprise. For a year, our shared kitchen and fridge functioned harmoniously, with everyone respecting one another's food. However, an anonymous individual began stealing my sandwiches, consuming half of each one, leaving bite marks, as if to taunt me. Initially, I assumed it was a one-off incident, but when it occurred again, I was determined to act. I prepared sandwiches with an extremely spicy Carolina Reaper sauce, a teaspoon in each, leaving a note warning about the consequences of stealing someone else's food, and went out for lunch. Upon my return, chaos reigned. The atmosphere was one of panic, and a woman's scream cut through the commotion, accompanied by a child's cry. The culprit turned out to be our cleaner's 9-year-old son, who she had been bringing to work during his school's disinfection week. He had made a habit of pilfering from the fridge, bypassing the healthy lunches his mother had prepared, in favor of my sandwiches. The child was in distress, suffering from the intense spiciness of the sauce. In my defense, I explained that the sandwiches were mine and I'd spiked them with hot sauce. The cleaner, initially relieved by my explanation, suddenly became furious, accusing me of trying to harm her child. This resulted in an escalated situation, with the cleaner reporting the incident to our landlord and threatening police intervention. The incident strained relations within the other workshops, siding with the cleaner due to her status as a mother. Consequently, our landlord has given us a month to relocate, adding to our financial struggles. My friends, too, are upset with me. I maintain my innocence, arguing that I had no idea a child was the food thief, and I would never intentionally harm a child. Nevertheless, it seems I'm held responsible, accused of creating a huge problem from a seemingly trivial situation. The child is okay, no harm to the health was inflicted. It still was just an edible sauce, just very, very spicy. I went through my girlfriend's phone and it left me broken. I, 22 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 21 female, for a few months now, and I thought she was a very sweet person. She was my first girlfriend. In fact, she was my first freaking everything because I grew up with strict, abusive parents. She genuinely seemed like a decent person. The only thing that threw me off was that sometimes when we were on our phones cuddling, sleeping, or close to each other, she'd slowly move her body and phone away from my field of view. Whatever, I didn't really think it was a big deal because she could have just wanted some privacy. One day, I went over to her place and she went to shower, leaving her unlocked phone on the drawer. I know that this may be a breach of privacy, but I was just really curious to why she'd try to hide her phone from my field of view. I didn't really check much, but one thing in particular that left my heart in shambles was a group chat with her girlfriends, with some of the names that I had recognized. I took a screenshot and sent it to myself. These were the messages, word for word. Her, no his D is small. Her, it's like 3, what the F am I supposed to do with this? Girlfriend 1, ah ha 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 ha. Girlfriend 2, you deserve better. Girlfriend 3, he has an actual shrimp lol. Girlfriend 1, shrimp emoji. Girlfriend 4, and there goes his flaw. I had stopped reading there and bawled my eyes out. I packed my stuff up and left. When we made love, she laughed at my willy, and I'm not gonna lie, that had really killed the mood for me and I didn't want to be intimate anymore, especially as a V card holder. I just barely held a stiffy and wanted to crawl in a hole. For the record, yes, my willy is smaller than average, if we consider the global average as 5.2 inches, but it's actually 3.5 non-bone pressed, not 3 inches, not that it matters anyway, but I kinda felt like I'd say this. I've been super messed up mentally after I went back to my place. I texted my manager about taking a week off. During that week I had stopped going to the gym and spent every day primarily in bed, crying. I didn't talk to her at all. I only had like 600 calories of food daily, a couple apples and a protein shake, and I only probably showered like twice. It's been 2 or so days after that week and I'm doing a bit better now. I'm going back to work and I've been slowly easing my way back to my original gym routine. I still haven't talked to her though because it'll probably make me depressed again. I've always been insecure about my willy ever since my teenage years and I just don't get why it's okay to willy shame, as if I have any control over that. It's not like I don't want an average willy. I had never once made any negative remarks about her lady parts, or any woman's lady part for that matter, because I know that it's not stuff that can be controlled. This all just sucks. I think I'm going to divorce my wife over her late husband. I feel like getting this off my chest elsewhere that isn't the therapist's office. I've been married to my wife for 5 years, dating for 4. Her late husband passed away 12 years ago. Her late husband was pretty much her first everything, and they knew each other since they started high school. When we started dating, she was open about that, along with boundaries she had. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day, and she wants the day to herself on her late husband's birthday and their anniversary. No over-the-top dates, birthday celebrations, Christmas gifts, anniversary. She doesn't want flowers, and what we do on birthdays, Christmas, our anniversary is mostly the same as any other day, just spending more time together. I was fine with these boundaries. I'm fine with everything being simple, that our dates are just watching a movie together, but lately I've just been wanting to do more. I have brought this up a few times, which she would say she just needs time. I don't want to push it so I stopped bringing it up, but I keep thinking about bringing it up, talking about it, and I feel guilty about it. Her family was very close with her late husband, as they are close with his parents. It's kind of awkward the few times I visit, they talk about him sometimes, and some things he and my wife would do that we either never did or rarely do. Part of me feels jealous, and then I feel guilty all over again, because why am I jealous of a dead man? I know my wife loves me. It might not be the same as she loves her late husband, but she loves me. She was my first serious relationship, and I guess it just isn't what I expected, and it isn't what I'm starting to want. I'm fine with just chilling most of the time, but I want to go on more dates, and be more intimate. I don't think I fully understood what I was getting into when we started dating, and I feel bad for contemplating divorce, but I don't think I'm getting what I want anytime soon. I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving my wife. My wife and I have been married for a year now, and I can't handle her crazy anymore. We lost a baby back in January, and that triggered her having a complete mental breakdown. She got diagnosed as bipolar a few months back, and when she was taking her medication everything seemed like it was back to normal. She hasn't taken the medication or been to therapy in a very long time, and everything has gotten worse. I am genuinely afraid for my life and her life way more often than I should be. She refuses violently to take her medication or to anything to get treatment. She will yell and scream and chew me out for an hour straight and then try to cuddle up to me or get intimate like nothing happened. Her mood swings are getting extreme. She's unpredictable at best, but I have to walk on eggshells just to avoid getting hit on the back or the shoulder. I have bruises now. The worst of it was only last night, when we were in bed and I didn't want to cuddle in the position she wanted to. She sat up, straddled me and hit my chest, neck and face. She full on quit her job. I now have the only income stream in our family. We barely have enough money to live and we can't afford to do very much extra. She barely leaves the house without me, and just stays home and naps or watches TV or pee all day while I'm at work. She manipulates me into making love. Yes, it is very much manipulation now, for hours after I get home, and guilt trips me when I want to go see my friends or go to the gym or church. I am not taking summer college courses, so I have a little more free time than I did in the spring, and she has made sure that I spend every single minute of it with her. I feel less like her partner and more like her slave a lot of the time. She obsesses over me to a ridiculous degree. I found an Apple AirTag in my car, and in my work backpack. She's controlling, she's manipulative, calculating and really cruel. Almost every single thing she does is like scientifically designed to either get something from me or to punish me for not being enough. I found a chart and some notes on her phone of ways that have worked to get me to do things for her, like intimacy or household chores, or to get me to buy her a gift or take her out. She has an extensive list of my daily schedule and activities. Like if she wants lovemaking, or to watch a particular movie, or to go out to eat, or get me to buy her jewelry or perfume or clothes or shoes. She has this system of ways of asking me and coercing me into do it, with rewards and punishments to get me to mentally associate doing things or not doing things. It's like training a dog, except I'm her effing husband. I feel like every day it gets worse. I'm living in a nightmare. I can hardly look at her anymore. It's been 3 days since I found the list. I printed it out and I'm taking it with me. She makes me sick. I'm going to leave the AirTag in my work locker and visit a divorce attorney today. I already have the appointment. I'm going to call her parents and tell them everything too before I tell her. My big issue is I don't know how she's going to react when she gets the news. I'm thinking I might maybe get my documents and valuable stuff out of the apartment when I get home and pretend I'm taking them to a storage unit, and then call her from a hotel. I'm also going to have the cops on standby if she even makes any indication that she's going to hurt herself. But yeah, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Maybe I'm weak, or not tough, or a jerk for not sticking with her, but I can't keep living like this. Update: I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving my wife. My wife, soon to be ex-wife hopefully, tried hurting herself when I called and told her that I'm filing for divorce. She's back in a 72-hour hold. I have ample documentation of the crap she put me through, and I'm getting a restraining order as well. I'm staying with a friend while I move all of my stuff to a storage unit. I have all my documents, and I've separated our bank accounts, and changed my passwords to everything. The police and several mental health and DV groups are up to speed on my situation also. I also learned that our adult tapes have been posted on several different websites, for weeks, but since I don't have access to her passwords to these sites, I can't remove them myself. I've had my lawyer reach out to the companies about getting them taken down though. Hopefully that happens soon. They've already gotten way too many views though. Her parents are taking it better than I was expecting also. Her dad gets it, and when shown the mountain of evidence, even her mom agrees that she and I shouldn't be married anymore. I don't think I'll ever see them again after all this is over and done with, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. I'm personally a little worried that she might start stalking me when she gets out, and that the restraining order won't mean very much to her. I'm kind of contemplating moving from the state, which would make school and finishing my degree pretty much impossible. I could maybe see about transferring, but to be honest it's more than I'm capable of dealing with mentally right now. Anyways, this is the last update I'm gonna post. My wife cheated on me, and when I confronted her she laughed at me. I cheated on my wife 4 years ago. I regret it to this day, and I have never done anything since. We have 2 small children, and when she found out she moved out. Life was hard on the both of us and we were miserable. I love my wife more than anything, and losing her was excruciating. After a few months apart I begged her to come back, and we took it slow, going to therapy and just trying to build our life together back up. She moved back after a year and everything was back to normal again. We were even stronger and our relationship grew. We are very happy together. I finally thought our life was perfect again. About a week ago, a man showed up at my door, and when I opened he was confused, then apologized for mixing the days up. I was supposed to fly home with my children the next day. My wife took over and she went back to the guy's car and they talked for 5 minutes and he drove away. I asked her who he was and she said he was just a friend. He came to pick her up since I was supposed to be at my parents', but he mixed the days. I was shocked, so I asked her if she was hooking up with him. She was so unbelievably unbothered, looked at me for a moment and said yes. I was speechless. Are you hooking up with others? Yes? Since when? Since we got back together. She was calm the whole time, talking about it like it was normal. She asked me why it was okay for me and not for her, and when I said that I never as much as looked at another woman since I cheated, she was surprised at first, then she laughed at me. She said she just assumed that I did, so she thought if I could then so could she. I cancelled my trip to stay with her at home, but she said that she was sorry. She already made the plans. I got very upset and started yelling at her. She said that if I didn't like it maybe we aren't supposed to be together. Then she said if you start yelling again I want a divorce. What the F?
My boyfriend just destroyed my grades. Earlier tonight I just finished a really important university essay, about 10% of my grade, and asked my boyfriend to read it once over just to check for grammar and spelling errors. I knew there weren't any, and so I didn't think he would find anything to change. I just wanted to quell my anxiety and know that there wasn't something sneaky that I missed. I told him to let me know once he finished and I would submit it. He texted me saying that it looked great, and off it went. A few hours later we were calling to say goodnight and I asked what he thought of my essay. He confessed that he hadn't really read it. I was a little confused but just assumed he glanced over it and didn't find any blatant spelling errors. I asked him to read it at that point and he said no. I pushed him a little bit because I was really proud of the essay and he said he was too tired and maybe he would in the morning. We compromised and I asked if I could read it aloud on the phone to him. I hadn't looked at the essay since he had proofread it, because I assumed he didn't change anything, but after the first sentence of reading it out loud I stopped abruptly. I didn't understand how there were already 3 grammar and punctuation mistakes. I quickly pulled up the revision history and saw that he had edited my entire essay to be illegible. I confronted him about it and he said that he just clicked the Grammarly suggestions and didn't read what they were. I feel so defeated. I know it's my fault because I submitted the essay without looking to see if he changed anything. I just assumed he hadn't. I haven't felt so worthless in a really long time. I'm on a college scholarship and I need to keep very good grades or I lose my money for food and rent as well as tuition. Do I email my professor and explain what happened? Or will that make it worse because they would know that I not only used someone else to help me, but they also used an online writing tool? I feel so broken.